everybody, and welcome back to the Football Fignuts podcast. If you're keeping track at home, this is episode number 22 of our 8th season, and if you're counting all of them together, this is episode number 333, and with a fully healed voice, I am Britt.
And I am Craig.
Craig, the Super Bowl is set.
It is.
It's what no one wanted.
Exactly. It's a rematch of 2 years ago?
Yeah. I now understand how most Patriot fans felt. The difference between the Patriots dynasty and the Kansas City dynasty. Huge difference right off the top. Before we even get started here, the huge difference is Tom Brady's a little bit of a prick, whereas Patrick Mahomes isn't a prick. Just everyone else in his family is.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
His wife is a little self-righteous and overimportant. A good supporter of women's sports, though, so you got to give her that. His mom is a Trump voter. And Jackson, let's just say I understand how Jackson turned out the way he is.
And then there's his dad, who I think is always drunk.
We never hear anything about Pat Mahomes.
Oh, he was in the news again.
Never. Oh, what did he do now?
I don't know. He went on Twitter to complain about Jalen Hurts or the Bills, or I don't know. I didn't read the whole thing.
Okay. Did he go on and say the Chiefs get all the calls? That would be fucking funny.
I don't think he did.
I'm so sick of watching the Chiefs get all the calls. Buffalo's getting screwed. Dad, I'm on the Chiefs. So, but he surfaces once a year, does something embarrassing, and then he usually disappears again. So at least there's that. But anyway, all right. Before we get into all of that, let's start where we always start. Craig, what are you drinking tonight?
Tonight, since you reminded me about Saturday, and I might be going with you. I am drinking Athletic.
So that's gonna actually. I'm drinking Coke Zero. So my burning hot take, my first one, because I have two things to discuss tonight. The first one was gonna be the reminder that Saturday is Igor Day. What the hell is that? If you're outside of the state of Connecticut, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And if you're not in Southern Connecticut, you may not know. But Igor Day is when the brewery that's most local to Craig and I, that we enjoy so much, Two Roads Brewing, releases its annual special stout in tribute to Igor Sikorsky, the man who invented the modern day helicopter. And Igor Day here should be basically a holiday because the brewery it's lit. Back in the days before internet pre-ordering, like 15 years ago, they would just be like, all right, Igor's Day is like 2 weeks from today. First come, first serve. Good luck, everybody. And people would sleep in front of the brewery. They would put up tents. They would put up tents in freaking February and January and sleep in front of the brewery to get this bottle of stout. Now I go on the internet 2 weeks in advance and I'm like, you got stouts left? And they're like, yeah, you want a couple? All right, I put them on pre-order. And you just go pick them up. This was a big deal years ago. And even now, it's a huge thing. They flood the brewery at noon. Igor's grandkids come out. A historian from the town of Stratford, Connecticut comes out and talks about Igor's. It's a big freaking deal. But there's a secret. If you want to get the stout and you don't want to fight the stout bros, you show up at 3:00 in the afternoon because they all rush there at freaking noon to get their stout, have one off the tap, and then all go to enjoy their Saturday. We walked in, I think were you with us the year? I think it was Sean was with us. The year they pre-poured the flights. Because it gets so busy, they pre-pour the flights.
The last time I was there for it, we were there with Jeff. So I don't remember when that was.
We were at Igor Day with Jeff?
I remember having those stouts with you and Christy and Jeff.
He was such a stout guy.
I don't remember if that was Igor's Day, though. It might have been. Or right after it. So
that might have been when they brought back Unorthodox. Because Jeff loved Unorthodox, which was the stout they used to make all the time. And then they retired it, and then they brought it back one time, and I sort of got Jeff was going to live at the brewery until it ran out. But RIP Jeff, old friend of ours, who's no longer with us. But yeah, so Igor's Day is Saturday. So normally we just show up at 3:00 and everybody's cleared out. Well, Two Roads finally figured us out. And today, or recently, I found out about today. Today I learned they are releasing the main variants at noon, but they're releasing a secret, unannounced variant that is only in the tap room, in Area 2's tap room, by the way, at 2 p.m.
Oh, really?
So that means all the stout bros are going to Two Roads, getting their bottles, having a beer, and then they're all going to get up at like 1:30, and it's going to be like the Pied Piper marching them across the parking lot to the Area 2 building, which is literally 100 yards away, guys. The two buildings are 100 yards from each other. And then they're all going to pile in there to find out what the unannounced variety is, drink as much of that as they can, and then go home to their wives. So my plan is to go around 2 o'clock and go straight to Area 2. Or actually, we're going to go around 3. I'm going to go around 3. Go straight to Area 2, by which time most of the dude bros should be into their last drink, get the variant, go back to the main building where there will be nobody at this point, get my bottles, and have the regular one on the tap. So yes, we're that is the plan.
That's a solid plan, I think.
You don't have an option in attending. Attendance is mandatory. I'm gonna call Sean and tell him to tie up his daughter and feed the dog early because it's time to come have a beer. I'm sure that'll go over well with his wife, but
we'll see.
It sounds like a her problem.
It is a her problem. I agree.
So that was my burning hot take was going to be Igor's Day. I think it's a big deal for Two Roads. I'm not a stout guy, but is it a big deal for you to go to Two Roads on Igor's Day?
I would say so. Also because, you did actually order me a bottle of it, so I do have to go there.
Yeah, I was mildly intoxicated when I placed that order. So I remember, excuse me, it was you and Sean.
Yes.
There was a brandy, was it brandy and rum variety?
Mm-hmm.
There was a brandy rum barrel, and there was a Black Forest variety.
Right.
And I don't remember who wanted which.
We'll figure it out. It's somewhere in my
you guys are gonna...
messages.
Oh, that's right. I have the text messages. I can go back and look.
It's him and I are gonna split one bottle, and then we each get our own bottle of something else. That was the plan.
I think, yeah. I just don't remember which one you... I ordered an extra bottle. I ordered one extra bottle, but I don't remember which variety it was. So I've got to figure it out.
Well, we'll figure it out.
So, all right. So what's burning on your mind this week?
Really, mine's more football related.
That's good, because mine wasn't.
So there's a lot of coaching changes that's happened since we last talked. So 3 coaches, well, there might be more, but 3 in particular were hired.
Okay.
One is Brian Schottenheimer is now the head coach of the Cowboys.
Okay.
Which Jerry Jones said in an interview that it was a very big risk. So I don't know how you can take that. Take it however. The Jets hire a former coach as their new coach. Aaron Glenn. And Pete Carroll.
I'd like to see that.
Pete Carroll is now coach for the Raiders.
Bad call.
Of those 3 teams, which one do you think is going to have the most noticeable improvement next season?
I'll go with the Cowboys, and it's just because they have the pieces in place already. The Jets have nothing to build on, and the Raiders are a tire fire. So if anybody's going to improve, it's going to be the Cowboys because at least they have some talented skill position players. They're not
That's fair.
going to be great, but there's going to be better.
No, that's fair. I agree with that. Do you think there's an outside chance that Russell Wilson becomes a Raider and comes back to the AFC West?
Not if he wants to win. Listen, and this was the argument that I was having with Cinch the other day. Cinch was like, this is a genius move. They'll be better in 2 years. And I was like, Pete Carroll won't be there in 2 years. The Raiders have this unearthly, unbelievably psychotic view of their talent. The Raiders are not good. How many Raiders did you have on your fantasy team this year? Name any of them.
I did not have any Raiders.
I can't think of a single one I had.
Oh, well, the tight end was good. What's his face? Brock
Bowers was very good.
I did not have him, but he was good.
That's fair. But I didn't have anybody from that team at all. So what's going to happen is Pete Carroll's going to go. This team's going to win 5 games, and they're going to fire Pete Carroll because they think bringing Pete Carroll in is going to solve all their issues because in their mind, they have talent. Got bad news. They don't. This is no different than when Al Davis ran the team. No
Remember Al
different.
Davis?
Now his kid Mark is running the team. It's the same thing. They do not have realistic expectations of their team. So it does not make a difference what coach you bring in because they're not patient and they just fire everybody. So I'm going to say the Cowboys. Which one do you think is going to get better faster?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Cowboys, like if I put them in order, I would say the Cowboys, Jets, and then the Raiders.
Yes, that would be the
in
order.
that order.
And when I say the Jets are better than the Raiders, that's because the Raiders are a massive tire fire.
Yeah, I think the Jets need to move on from Aaron Rodgers at this point. I know he's still
to move on from everyone.
He's still thinking about it, but they definitely need to move on. They need to move on from Aaron Rodgers, and they need to not draft a rookie QB who they're going to start. They can't just draft someone next season in April and just expect him to take over the team because they can't do it. They've never been able to do it ever. I mean,
you mentioned Russell Wilson. That's a great landing place for Russell Wilson if he wants to change teams. He's only got a year or two.
That's true. I was going to say Justin Fields just because he's younger.
But you want somebody who's going to teach the guy something that's coming up behind him. So you do want a little bit of an old salt. And then maybe he's not the best idea. He's probably not the best choice there. But I'm starting to think of who else is floating around the league.
Your buddy.
That's still
Kirk.
Which buddy?
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. The problem is Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins doesn't teach anybody. There's two types of quarterbacks in the league: guys who try to impart wisdom and guys who look at the people behind them as a threat. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. They look at the guy behind him as a threat. Guys like Alex Smith, guys like Russell Wilson, guys like Drew Bledsoe. Hey, never forget, Drew Bledsoe played ahead of two guys who turned out to be pretty decent in Tom Brady and Tony Romo. Romo didn't have the success level that Brady had.
Tony Romo was a Patriot?
No. When Bledsoe was on the Cowboys.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he was a Cowboy.
Bledsoe went to the Cowboys, I think for a year and a half. Tony Romo played behind Bledsoe. Do you remember? Because that was the year they were going to advance to the playoffs and then Tony Romo fumbled the snap on the field goal.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And then the next year he was the starter. And everybody was like, he can't catch the ball. Why would we put him back there and snap it to him? But, so I think there's different kinds of guys in the league, and some are meant to be coaches and inspire guys, and some aren't. Dude, I understand that. I understand that Patrick Mahomes owes a lot of his success to the system. Is Patrick Mahomes half as good if he doesn't play that first season behind Alex Smith and learn the system and learn from a guy who's been there?
That's a good question.
So if you're the Jets and you're drafting the future, you want somebody ahead of him for a year or two who he can learn from. I'm looking around the league in my head, and I'm seeing guys like Baker Mayfield. Strikes me as that kind of guy. Maybe he's not, but he strikes me as that kind of guy who's like, you know what? I'm not gonna be here forever. I want to do my best and help other people along. Kirk Cousins does not strike me as that type. Sam Darnold isn't experienced enough to strike me as that type. I'm trying to think of who else around the league. Who strikes me big time as that type is Derek Carr.
Yeah, but I don't think he's a free agent.
He's not. He's going to the Saints. So I mean, he's stuck at the Saints. But I mean, just in general, I think who you have in that front spot matters because there are guys who naturally mentor and there are guys who just don't.
Let's see. Look at the list really quick. There's Andy Dalton.
I would trust him to be a good mentor.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Same.
Jeff Driscoll still plays. Okay. Jameis Winston. Flacco. No. He was already a Jet.
Flacco would, but Flacco wouldn't go back to the Jets. He's done his time.
Jacoby Brissett.
He's interesting. He's been around forever, but his starting experience is so limited. He might be a really good mentor.
Marcus Mariota. Remember him?
I do, but he's not starter quality.
Jimmy Garoppolo, Mason Rudolph, Carson Wentz.
He's past his starting days, so he's not an option there. But he strikes me as a guy who, when he does finally retire, he is going to have he's going to end up being a QB coach somewhere. I would say at the NCAA level, he's going to end up being a QB coach.
Who else is on this list? Nick Mullins.
Oh no.
Taylor Heineke. Remember him?
Not enough experience.
True.
I mean, and they've been in the league forever, but you gotta have somebody who has
Hey,
some starting
you know who
experience.
else is a free agent?
Who's that?
Cinch's favorite player, Mac Jones.
And talk about a guy who doesn't have enough starting experience. Your best bet is to not get hit and to throw the ball to your own guys. I don't know why he sounds like a teenager, but he does to me. So okay, all right, but that's my take on that. Last one I have today. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's going on in politics. You know how much I pay attention to it.
True.
True. But the White House, the new White House under he who shall not be named, held his first press briefing this week, and it was a little bit of a shit show in that they gave out a lot of credentials to this, and then they said intentionally that because young people are losing faith in the media, they are going to be opening up the briefing room to new media voices.
Okay.
Quote, we welcome independent journalists, podcasters, social media influencers, and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House. And you can now apply on our new website. End
okay.
quote.
That's not a terrible idea because of how people consume media. All right. I'll give them that. Okay.
My question is, we're technically podcasters.
We are. We're on one right now.
Should we apply for White House credentials?
We could just to see if we could get it.
Well, that's part two of the question. What the fuck would we do if we did? Does that mean one of us or both of us would have to go to Washington?
Yeah, we can just take, because I really don't want to drive there. We just take the Amtrak down, and see how it goes.
Should we do this? Should we do this and try to, let's see, New York City to DC train?
Yeah, I think we got to go from not Grand Central, the other train station.
Oh,
in
Penn.
New York. Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's about 3.5 hours, and if you take the early morning train, it's only $45.
Not terrible. I would pay that instead of driving. I just wouldn't want to drive there.
Why?
What?
Why is it $45 if I leave at 6:02 in the morning?
Yep.
But it's 25 minutes later, it's $104.
Prime rates, 6:30 to like 10 is like prime.
25 minutes?
Yes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
And then by 6:40, it's up to $138. Okay, when is this one? When is this one? This one's only $36.
Maybe it probably makes extra stops. Probably takes longer.
No, it's zero changes. It's 3 hours and 33 minutes, and it's only $36. It leaves at 7:04.
Oh.
Ooh. But yes, you're right. The fastest one is like $250 a seat. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. All right. I'm gonna consider applying for a White House credential. So start thinking about what you want to ask he who shall not be name's press secretary.
Fair enough.
I think if I have to formulate a question, I'm going to formulate it as if I was North Korean press and be like, thank you for taking my question on behalf of glorious sun god Trump. Everyone knows his glory outshines the rest of all leaders in the world. How is he so brilliant? Thank you. And that would be my question. And just see. You know what? And if I ask that question in an actual press briefing at the White House, we probably get moved up to the front row the next time.
Probably.
All right, so we're gonna apply for press credentials. A, we're never gonna get, and B, if we did get, we're never gonna use. How awesome would that be?
But if we got it, then
I thought we gotta go use it though.
We'd have to if we got it, we'd have to use it at least once.
You know what? I've got a solution.
Okay.
We'll send Sean.
Oh Lord.
We'll send Sean. What? Just put on a tie and go stand in the back and write some stuff down. Look like you're paying attention. So
he can do that.
All right. Anyway, he can. All right, moving on. So the Super Bowl is set. Eagles Chiefs a week from this Sunday. We will have. Where are we watching the game? Has anybody stepped up to invite us to a Super Bowl party yet?
I don't believe so.
All right, I'm gonna make some noise. I ain't hosting it this year. My poor wife has suffered enough. Like seriously, she has suffered enough. I'm not hosting it here. We got to find some place to go watch the game. And Two Roads is throwing a party, but if I go to Two Roads to the Super Bowl, I'm probably gonna die. That's a one-way trip. But
Yeah,
I will have a
you'd have to
bottle.
Uber. You'd have to Uber there.
Yeah, I'd have to Uber there, and then they'd need a coroner to take me away. So, I will. I'll sweeten the pot. I did get an extra bottle of that, the Igor's special whiskey. So, maybe if I promise to bring that to a party and get in the door, I don't know. So, all right, Eagles Chiefs. Oh, sorry. Early lines. Early lines. These will change 15 times, kids. 15 times. According to CBS Sports, the early spread is Kansas City -1.5. Thoughts?
It's Kansas City -1.5.
Kansas City -1.5.
I say by the time the game starts, that's going to be at least 3.
So you think money's going to pour in on KC's side?
Yeah,
At -1.5.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, as of right now, I guess if you look at the two teams, the Eagles' defense is better than the Chiefs' defense. So, yeah.
Yes. I don't know. Well, that leads me to the next one. Over under 49.5. I say under.
I say under.
These are two high-powered offenses with defenses that take away high-powered plays. Like that's the only thing the Chiefs do well is stop plays of longer than 20 yards. And the Eagles stop everything. So listen, the only real question is how many touchdowns is Saquon running for?
That's true. I mean, the last time they played, it was Kansas City 38, Philly was 35. So
it was close. And Saquon Barkley wasn't an Eagle
this is true.
the last time they were in the Super Bowl. And the defenses have gotten better. So, and Hurts has gotten better. Hurts' experience is going up by a ton. Okay, so yeah, I like the under there. I think that number will go up. I think by the time I sit down to bed, it'll be in the realm of 52. But we'll see.
Wow, quick sidebar. Really, I looked up the scores of the Super Bowls.
Yeah,
my brain completely forgot about one Super Bowl in 2016, Super Bowl 50.
Okay.
My brain, this Super Bowl is completely erased from my memory. I forgot that Carolina was in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And Denver beat them 24-10.
Yes.
Totally forgot that.
That was Manning's. That was the Manning Bowl. That was Manning's championship, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It was Peyton. Yep. And then it all went downhill for what's his name? Why am I drawing a blank on the quarterback? Didn't we just talk about him? Cam Newton. We literally just talked about him. Like half an hour ago, we were talking about Cam Newton. I totally forgot about him. Yeah. So yeah. The money line, Kansas City -127, Philadelphia +109. I would like the +109 there. That's pretty good. KC is 6-4 against the under in their last 10 games. Well, that should take the under. Philly is 5-5 in the over in their last 10 games. Well, maybe I should take the over. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll take a closer look next week. We'll take a look at the prop bets, see where it is. But is America sick of these teams? I mean, America's sick of the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, I think because, the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl the last, four times?
They have gone to the Super Bowl.
They
won 3, then they lost 1. Then there was 1 year they didn't go because the Bengals went. So that's 5. This will be their 6th appearance in 7 years.
Yeah, so let's see. Last year was the 49ers and the Eagles. Then there was the Cincinnati Super Bowl. Then they played Tampa Bay. Then they lost. They lost. Then they played, I'm going backwards. They played the 49ers again.
Yep.
And then, no, that's it. Because after that, it was all New England and then Denver.
Yeah. They have been in the AFC Championship 7 straight years. The AFC has not been represented. You have it in front of you. You have the Super Bowl players in front of you, the teams?
Yes.
I want you to go backwards from today and tell me the first time you hit an AFC team that is not the Chiefs, Bengals, or Patriots.
Okay. 2018, that was the Patriots. 2017, Patriots. That would be the 2016 Super Bowl I mentioned before, Denver. So this will be 9 straight years that the AFC has been represented by one of 3 teams. Now, the same period of time. Yep.
Let's go down the NFC side.
Yep.
We know the Eagles have gone a couple of times. We know the Niners have gone a couple of times. Who else?
All right, so the Rams played Cincinnati.
Rams, yep.
Tampa Bay played Kansas City.
Tampa.
The Rams played New England again. Again, going backwards.
Yep.
Philadelphia. It was Atlanta. Atlanta played New England.
Atlanta, yes.
And then we're back.
Oh my God, the Matt Ryan Bowl. What was it, 28-0 at half?
Yes, that's the Super Bowl that cinch ruined Matt Ryan's career. That was Cinch's fault.
Oh, man.
I was watching that at your curling club with you. I remember that.
Yes, we did. We went to the curling club for that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. Talk about years we didn't have anywhere to go.
Right? I mean, it worked out pretty well, though. But yeah.
It was all right. The food was decent. We got to sit around. We had good seats for the game. Nobody bothered us. It was actually a pretty good crowd, too.
There's a little bar. You got a little bar in there. It was fine.
Yeah, they are a legally licensed liquor server. Yeah. Yeah, I drank a lot of scotch that night, as I recall. So that's it? 5 teams in 9 years?
So let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, then after that it's Seattle twice, and then back to San Francisco.
Yeah, but who did Seattle play?
New England.
So it's still part of that 9 years. So Seattle's the 6th team.
Yeah.
So 6 teams in 9 years for the NFC, but only 3 teams in 9 years for the AFC.
Yes.
And anybody wonder why there's burnout on the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, you know what I think is because of all those years of New England. I think America in general got tired of seeing New England. There's that sense that it's happening again with the Chiefs.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. You know what it is? So it's because there was no transition period. We went right from the period of Patriots being in the Super Bowl like every other year kind of thing and always being in the mix to the Chiefs are always in the Super Bowl or always in the mix. There was no like middle ground where there was like, okay, well maybe these guys might get in, you know? So yeah, I understand it. I understand it. Guys, it is what it is. It is what it is. Don't watch the Super Bowl if it bothers you so much. Everybody's like, I'm not going to watch this Super Bowl. I'm going to show the NFL. Dude, we just did this politically. Everybody who stood up and goes, I don't like either of these candidates' stance on this one issue, so I'm just not going to vote. And now we're stuck with 4 years of Trump. How's that working out for you now? You really think the NFL is going to give a shit if you don't watch the Super Bowl? Do you think they're losing money on it? There's enough crazy assholes out there that they ain't got to worry about one guy who's going to protest the Super Bowl. Well, but if 1 million of us do it, then there's still another 200 million assholes watching. Congratulations on costing them 0.5% of their audience.
Man, some of these Super Bowls were not close. Looking at this list.
Oh, man. There have been so many that have just been bad.
Dallas 52, Buffalo 17.
Oh, God. That was the Jim Kelly era.
Yep, Dallas 30, Buffalo 13. This one, 1995. I stopped watching the Super Bowl and started playing a card game with our friend John. Not Cinch, the other John. San Francisco 49, San Diego 26.
That was the Stan Humphries Super Bowl.
Yep.
That was the year the San Diego Chargers started out 0-4 and then didn't lose another game.
Yep.
Until the Super Bowl where they got crushed.
That's a bad time to lose.
And I remember that because that was Joe Montana's first year as a Chief, or maybe second. But the AFC Championship that year was Chargers versus. No, maybe it was the Bills that beat us. Yeah, I think it was Montana's.
The 1995. Well, yeah.
The Bills were in 95.
So 94. The Super Bowl in 1994 was Dallas Buffalo. The Super Bowl in 1995 was San Francisco San Diego. So like that would be the 94 season.
Yeah, because I can remember being on my way back to UConn to get ready for spring semester and listening to the Chiefs play, I think, in a divisional round and getting killed by the Bills. And I'm pretty sure that was the first year so I might be off by a year or so, but yeah, it was around that time. But
2014, 11 years ago, Seattle 43, Denver 8. Bad.
Wait, what year was that?
2014.
2014. Who was the quarterback of the Denver Broncos after the 2013 season?
Was it still?
Was
it still Manning or no? He was done by then, wasn't he? No, because he won. He won in 2016, so it must have been him.
John Fox was the coach. They were 13-3. They were first in the division. Who was their leading passer? I'm looking. Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was on that team. Wow, you ready for some names from the past?
Sure.
Members of that team: No Sean Moreno,
Mm-hmm.
Eric Decker, Wes Welker was on that team.
Wow, he's a coach now.
Yeah, I'm looking for another one. Another deep Monte Ball.
I remember him.
Julius Thomas was on that team.
Wow.
13-3 they went, and then got absolutely destroyed. By the way, I really quick, and then we can get ready to wrap up, because we're just kind of, this is just kind of a hangout episode because we have no games this week. The source sent us an article today about Belichick wanting to rename the Lombardi Trophy after Tom Brady.
No.
And he didn't send it to us. He didn't send it to us as a, hey, this is a good idea. He sent this as kind of like a, guys, can you believe someone actually said this?
Yeah, and he's a lifelong Patriot fan, so.
He's a lifelong Patriot fan. And Cinch was like, well, and Cinch, listen, if Tom Brady came to Cinch's door tomorrow and said, run away with me and live with me forever,
we would never hear from
would
Cinch again.
Yeah, Cinch would not even tell his wife he was leaving. He'd just be gone.
Nope.
So yeah, take that for what it is. He was like, I think you should. I think it's a great idea, and if it's got to be named after a coach, it should be named after Belichick. No. Lombardi won 73% of his games. Belichick has won 65. Lombardi won 7 national championships, because don't forget, he coached in both the Super Bowl and pre-Super Bowl era. So you can't just say Super Bowls. He won 7 championships.
He was around when the league started. So
yes, but the Bills only won 6. I'm sorry, Bills only won 6. I can't with people who want to like rename trophies just because the kids don't know. Teach your kids history, goddamn.
I always thought, like, if you go into a sport, professional sport,
yeah,
you should, because like how like rookies kind of have like a transitional period when they go from being college students to like professional athletes. So they have like special rookie, like, meetings and practices and whatever.
Yeah.
The team, even if it's like one session, one training or whatever, should go over like the NFL history and the team history, just so like they have a concept of what they're, part of.
Yes.
And I don't know why they don't do that, but they should. Or maybe they do and no one says anything. But I always thought that was a good idea.
Let's wrap up with just a quick off the top of your head game. I just found an article from BuzzFeed from 2012. So keep in mind the time, 2012.
Okay. Yep.
The 8 worst quarterbacks to ever wear a Super Bowl ring.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm going to give you 3 guesses. No strikes, none of that. Give me a name off this list. I think it came out in 2012.
2012. It has a Super Bowl ring.
The 8 worst quarterbacks to ever wear a Super Bowl ring.
Oh, God. You're going to have to give me a minute to think.
I was shocked by... Do you want me to just tell you? Because we don't have to turn this into a game thing.
I'm going to guess Jim Harbaugh. Doesn't he have a ring?
He's not on this list. No, I don't think he does.
I thought he did.
Maybe he does, but he's not on the list.
All right. I thought he was a backup somewhere when he won it.
Like Bertie Kosar?
Exactly.
Bertie Kosar is also not on the list, so don't guess Bertie Kosar.
I'm just going to... you know what? I'm going to say Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer's actually number 1 on this list. He is, in their estimation, the worst quarterback to ever wear a Super Bowl ring.
That was the Ravens defense that won them that.
Yeah.
All right, who else is on the list?
God. All right, so I'll just run. So going 8-1. Start with the guys. Number 8 is Ben Roethlisberger, and they argue that if it would not been for the defense, he would have been 0-3 in Super Bowls.
All right, I would say he's
number
out.
7 is number 7 is Joe Namath.
Really?
He threw more picks and touchdowns in his career. And it's saying basically if you take Nathan's career completion percentage was 50.1%.
Hey, he was over 50% though.
Number 6 is Brad Johnson. He won with Tampa Bay under John Gruden.
I forgot about Brad Johnson.
Mark Rippon is number 5. Jeez, the hell? Okay, I hope that didn't pick up on the microphone. Number 4 is Jeff Hostetler, who won with the Giants.
Jeff. Yep.
Number 3 is Doug Williams, the man who famously answered the question, "How long have you been a black quarterback?" by saying "all of my life." Back in a time when you could ask a question and nobody thought it was freaking strange. And then number 2 is Jim Plunkett.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, in the year that they won, in 1980, Plunkett just completed only 51.6% of his throws, and his TD to pick ratio was 18-16.
Huh. Interesting.
He said if Rod Martin of their defense picked off Eagles quarterback Ron Jaworski 3 times in the Super Bowl to make sure they won that game. So, wow. Okay, now this is in the second Super Bowl win, the following people played on defense for the Raiders. Okay. Howie Long, Matt Millen, Lyle Alzado, Mike Haynes, Lester Hayes, and Ted Hendricks.
Wow, that's a scary defense.
And by the way, he handed off to a young man named Marcus Allen.
Oh, man. Some great names to remember.
So some great names.
They're all awesome.
All right. Let's wrap up for the week. We will be back next week and we can talk about more about Super Bowl stuff. Let's go to final thoughts. Craig, what do you got?
Final thoughts for me, since we were talking about Super Bowls, and, if you go on YouTube, you can find replays probably of Super Bowls. I know you can find replays of like old WrestleMania matches. If you're going to watch an older Super Bowl, and I really hate the fact that the Super Bowl is 25 years old, the Super Bowl from 2000, that was a Titans versus the Rams, was probably one of the best Super Bowls to watch.
Oh, that was a good game.
It literally went right down to like
the last play
and the last like minute of the game. It was. I just remember sitting in your living room, and then all of a sudden we were all standing in your living room, staring and yelling at the TV because none of us were really fans of. None of us cared because none of us were fans of either team. We were just happy the game was good, and it was a good time. It was a good time, and it was a great game to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great recommendation. My final thought is just going to be an expression of condolences. I found out yesterday that a man who was a mentor for me when I first took up curling, Mr. Charles Owens, passed away. If you don't know the world of curling, you don't know Charles Owens, but we called him Chuck. But Chuck was a massive presence in Northeast curling in North America and Canada. Just one of the friendliest guys, one of the nicest guys, one of the best teachers ever. The first year I curled, there was what we called the club championship, where they would put teams together and you would get younger people would get paired up with older people, experience wise. And he was my skip. He ran the team and we ended up winning the championship. And oh my God, we ended up winning that tournament. That run was insanely special. He was the most calm person. He was also the most like realistic person. I can remember being in the championship match and being up like 5-2. We were up early and an end was going badly. I don't even remember exactly how it went, but he looked at me and went, "Well, Britt, I think we're screwed." And I went, "What?" He's like, "Yep. Gonna give up 2 points here, so let's just get to 2 points back next end," and walked away. And it was just kind of like, you're not gonna like, there's nothing here. Nope. And he was completely calm about it. We ended up winning that match, and just a fantastic human being, a really nice guy. So for those of you who listen to this who are involved with curling, Charles Owens passed away at age 95 this week. So best thoughts to his family. His wife is still around, and his daughter Jill. They're fantastic people. So that'll be my final thought for this week. Is just we lost a good man this week. So you can help us out a great deal by going wherever you found this podcast and leaving us a review. Usually on Apple. We always appreciate any feedback you can give us. It would be very helpful. And also reach out to us. You can reach us by email at the Football Fignuts Podcast. We are the Football Fignuts Podcast on Facebook, which I never check anymore. Facebook is social media is dead to me. It just is. It's such an oligarchy cesspool.
It is.
So email us. So email us at fignutsdfs@gmail.com. All right, Craig, we will be back next week. We'll preview the Super Bowl, and then it's the off season, and I can sleep.
Yep. got here pretty fast before you knew it.
These seasons get longer every year we do this. Like I feel like it was 25 years ago we were doing rankings. And then we'll do like 2 episodes and then I'll be like, man, it's July. We got to start doing rankings again.
Yeah, pretty much. That's usually what happens.
It does. All right. So thank you so much for joining us. Until we speak next, my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast.
Hi, Deb.